Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for being here, taking your valuable time to come and be present for this Bhagavat Sravana. We're just going to start reading the Kirtan. I beg your forgiveness in advance. I'm not such a good singer in any way, shape, or form, and also not very good at harmonium. But I'm going to try, so with your blessings, maybe something will happen.
I just want to say, since Jai Nitai Prabhu started talking, I normally introduce the speaker after Kirtan.
You can do that.
Please want me to do it.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishnasaya Bhutale Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Jaya Shri Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Nam Sankirtan Ki, Sankirtan Yagi Ki, Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for that amazing kirtan. We're so fortunate today. Thank you all so much for being here for our weekly Bhagavat Sravana program. And it's such a beautiful program. And we're so fortunate to have two very, very special, senior, sincere, humble devotees with us today. Jaya Nitai is a second initiated disciple of Radhanaswami. He joined ISKCON in 1998 from a professional background of consultancy. And he actually spent 10 years as a brahmachari, doing outreach and temple management. And then he transitioned into the Grihastha ashram, meeting his lovely wife, Bhakti, who I will introduce in a minute. And he served as the temple president of ISKCON London Soho for 14 years. And he currently serves as zonal supervisor for London and the Southeast and Euro RGB member. Both him and his wife currently focus on community development and devotee care for the UK. And he recently established a UK National Devotee Care Office, which oversees 5 devotee care zonal rep teams working on strategic plans for the devotee care initiative and reports directly to the UK GBC and UK zonal supervisors. And they actually travel all over the world conducting seminars and courses in universities, corporations, and is a faculty member of the GBC College, which is a beautiful college that's actually training young leaders to take up leadership positions in the GBC in the future. And Bhava Bhakti, his beautiful wife, is also a second initiated disciple of Radhanaswami, who joined in 1996, so 2 years before her husband, with a master's degree in English literature and psychology before pursuing a career in central government. And she previously served in a volunteer capacity as the temple administrator, charity secretary, and mentorship coordinator of ISKCON London, as well as deity service, cooking, and communications. And I just learned this morning that also while she was doing these services, she was also like working a full-time job, mind blown. And you're amazing. And she currently teaches Bhakti Shastri, specializing in interactive courses and innovative outreach, and travels globally with her wonderful husband to present these seminars and courses on a myriad of Bhakti subjects, which includes the ISKCON Leadership Sangha and Mayapur Dham. So they're going to be speaking to us during this class on devotee care from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then please stay with us from 2 to, we're going to end at 3:45, so everyone can also go to the Brooklyn program. This afternoon, after lunch, please stay. They're going to be giving an introduction to their devotee care course. So I'll stop speaking because they're much more interesting, and we'll turn it over to both of you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. That is way too much stuff, but thank you for your encouragement, and thank you all very much for being here on a Sunday morning. I'm sure in the middle of Manhattan, New York City, there are many things you could be doing with your time other than sitting here. in front of Shishivaga Muralidhar and Shigor Chandra Bhagavan and sitting with us. So I would like to congratulate you for making the choice to be here. It's very rare in this world. Probably how many people in New York? 10 million. And just see how many are here in the temple. Most people were busy at their own temples last night, partying to the early hours, celebrating. So they're not able to even probably get out of bed this early. Most people in New York, I guess. But congratulations to all of you, and it's a great honor and privilege for us to be here. So, yes, we've been asked to speak a little bit on the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think, right? That's usually what you read from on Sunday morning. Bhagavat Sravana, which is glorious for devotees to come together and hear and chant. Would you like to share a little bit of some of the things that we've done?
So, Hare Krishna. Just regarding the Bhagavatam, we were just discussing how we tried, since we've been married specifically, to incorporate the Bhagavatam into our lives in a practical way. I know when I was not married, and I don't know if you have this here, but we have like sadhana charts if you want to go forward and get initiated. It was recommended at least an hour a day you should read, maybe more, and you think, how do I incorporate that in a quality way? I mean, you can jam it, you can do it. So in terms of how we are trying to be enlivened by Bhagavatam and be inspired, one of the ways that we have started to do that is to start to get with the times as well, because we're a bit old, is to start a YouTube channel, and we call it the Bhagavatam Bites. And we have readings that go out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But we read more than that, but they're just pre-recorded, gone out. So what that does is that it makes us get together just 20-25 minutes, and we're systematically reading through. We read a verse each, we read a paragraph each, and we just discuss it. But it's not live, but we get comments back, and we actually have a community, as it were, online with that. And so serving ourselves, discussing and churning the nectar, and helping others. And it's really interesting because, as it was mentioned, you taught or do teach in Mayapur, something like once a year is, and people come up to you, or maybe just where we live in London, or even when we're traveling, and say, I know you, I watch your channel. You're like, oh, okay. And they share that they're reading with us. And it's very nice just to discuss together.
I mean, we started the Bhagavatam Bites. Of course, when we got married, we read together through the entire Bhagavatam, then we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we also read Nectar of Devotion. We just wanted to make sure that part of our Grihastha life was reading regularly together. And we started the Bhagavatam Bites in May of 2020 during the lockdown, when we weren't able to connect with our community in London. And we just thought we wanted to read, and we wanted to share with others. And it was a very powerful experience, because immediately we found new people were finding it online and commenting, and they were joining in the conversation. And we also found some devotees who had kind of gone away from, or become a little bit separated, and they were really happy to have some place to connect. And we really just try to keep it fun and make it interactive with ourselves, so that we comment on whatever Srila Prabhupada is doing or saying in the purports. There's a wonderful couple in London. Some of you will certainly be familiar with Krishna Dharma Prabhu, who is the author. Most devotees in this kind have read his Mahabharata, his Ramayana. So him and his wife, they also had this experience some years ago. They were on a retreat with us, and sharing how valuable it is to just read and share Bhagavatam together with other devotees. And we know this, but we don't often do it, unfortunately. But just to read And they really do it. They read a verse, then they'll read the purport like one sentence, and they'll say, does anyone have any reflection on that? And you'll be surprised sometimes, like, well, when I heard that, it really made me think of this. And you start to realize how just one sentence of Srila Prabhupada's purports is so powerful. And if you're reading with a group of devotees, sometimes you won't even get all the way through a purport. And you start to realize maybe the goal of this isn't to get to the end. Maybe the goal is actually to absorb ourselves, to absorb ourselves in hearing and chanting together and discussing. So that was one thing that we did. And actually just this morning, there's a group of us, we have a Grihastha mentorship group also. And just this morning, we have a WhatsApp group. During the lockdown, we also started a reading group, online reading group, and we decided let's just read 2 pages a day, following in Vaisheshika Prabhu's Be a Sage, page by page. And so in the first month of lockdown, our mentorship group read Nectar of Instruction all the way through, and everyone was like, wow, we just finished a book. Because there's also some feeling that comes when you finish a book. And so we said, well, let's up it to 4 pages a day. It takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes at the most out of your day. And we have a WhatsApp group where everyone just after they do their reading for the day, they share a little reflection. 2-3 sentences, maybe 1 quote from what you've read. And so we've been doing that now 3 years. Well, we started 2020, so almost 3 years. We've probably read over 25 of Srila Prabhupada's books, cover to cover, as a group. And we just finished Krishna book this morning. We started it in January, so it's July, we finished Krishna book, but we did it together, everyone sharing, reflecting a little bit. And it's amazing, of course, we both read Krishna book several times, but going through it, I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember that, and I don't remember that, and oh yeah, that part, and oh, isn't it interesting? And then you see other people's reflections. So it's just such a powerful and unifying exercise or devotional practice to read together. And it's something that we found over the many years that devotees just aren't really doing a lot of reading. When you ask them, they say, no, I haven't opened one of Prabhupada's books in years, you know. They're often hearing, you know, devotees are often hearing lectures, or audiobooks have become very popular, so devotees do listen to audiobooks and things. But to sit and read together, it's mind-blowing the power that it can have to create unity between the devotees, you know, who are reading together. So we just wanted to share that. Again, not kind of trying to blow our own trumpet, as it were, but just things that we've seen and how we've felt benefited just by reading Srila Prabhupada's books together. Plus, when you make a commitment to others to do it, it forces you to do it. So it's kind of self-interest as well, because, you know, every morning now I've got a good sadhana, I'm up, I read, and I make my comment, and I'm like, I know at least I've got my like 15, 20 minutes in, and then we also read Bhagavatam later, and so like that, you know. Anyways, we're just sharing a few things.
No, it was just that sense of achievement, and because it can feel I'm not doing enough, or I'm not progressing enough, and the point about reading together isn't that, because I do this with my ladies group, the reading, but we don't read, unfortunately, unless we meet twice a month. We meet twice a month for mentorship meetings, but the reading goes on in your own time, during the day, if that makes sense. But you just know that I'm going to have to send my realization or what stood out for me on the WhatsApp group. It's like an accountability, so no one feels, oh, I can't make it at 6 o'clock to read online. Or you don't need to do that. Like I do mine early in the morning, someone else does it in their lunch break at work, someone does it after work. But it's the sense of we're all achieving something together and progressing. No one's left out, if that makes sense. And it is a sense of achievement when you feel, oh, we just read another book. We just read another book. And apart from the fact that when you come close to Prabhupada, what that feels, hearing him, reading his words, and how that helps you. So, yeah, it's just simple things that we just wanted to share because it's making a difference.
Okay, so we're going to get into a little bit of Bhagavatam now, and Hare Krishna. We'd first like to chant the Bhagavatam prayers and offer respect to our spiritual master. So that we can put ourselves in the right state of consciousness to present the Bhagavatam. So if you know these prayers, you can please join in. And if you don't know the prayers, then you can please meditate on the transcendental sound vibration. Om Agyanatidam Dasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is the pastime that we've chosen to discuss from. And to be honest, I don't know how you normally do this, but we're just doing it the way that we do it, and I hope that's okay. All right, I got a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, that's good. So, as we've been reading through Bhagavatam, there's certain, you can see the screen behind us, I guess, yeah. There's certain pastimes that really stand out for us, and especially as we're traveling and discussing community development and devotee care, then some of these pastimes especially really stood out. So we decided on this section of the Bhagavatam, which is the 3rd canto, chapter 16, and we're going to focus on text 12, but we'll look at the kind of the entire pastime a little bit. And but this pastime specifically is Jaya and Vijay cursed by the 4 Kumaras. So how many of you are familiar with this pastime? Okay. How many here are not familiar with this pastime at all? Okay. All right, so we'll try to explain it a little bit as we go along. Hold for 1 second, I just need to change the settings on this, unfortunately. So this is the verse. We left out the Sanskrit just for time's sake. Okay.
So the verse in English: These servants of mine have transgressed against you, not knowing the mind of their master. I shall therefore deem it a favor done to me if you order that, although reaping the fruit of their transgression, they may return to my presence soon, and the time of their exile from my abode may expire before long.
So just quickly before we move to the purport, anyone can just give a quick synopsis of maybe what they think is going on here? Who's speaking to whom, about whom? Yes.
What Narayana excusing of offense made by Jaya and Jaya on gatekeepers of Vaikuntha to foreigners.
Okay, very nice. So the speaker is Lord Narayan. Krishna is speaking here to the 4 Kumaras about Jaya and Vijay.
So, from this statement, we can understand how anxious the Lord is to get his servitor back into Vaikuntha. This incident, therefore, proves that those who have once entered a Vaikuntha planet can never fall down. The case of Jaya and Vijaya is not a fall down, it is just an accident. The Lord is always anxious to get such devotees back again to the Vaikuntha planets as soon as possible. It is to be assumed that there is no possibility of a misunderstanding between the Lord and the devotees. But when there are discrepancies or disruptions between one devotee and another, one has to suffer the consequences, although that suffering is temporary. The Lord is so kind to his devotees that he took all the responsibility for the doorman's offense and requested the sages to give them facilities to return to Vaikuntha as soon as possible.
Okay. Everyone's got that? Okay. Anyone would like to reflect something back that stood out to them from what we just read? And we do this for 2 reasons. One, because sometimes when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it's like when you were a little kid and your grandmother used to read bedtime stories to you. So people start to like that, so we want to keep you awake. Plus we want to make sure that you're actually listening and not just hearing, but actually listening and taking it in. So anything that stood out to you from what we just read? Anything? Does anyone remember anything? One word? Yes. Mataji, and what is your name?
Rajalakshmi.
Rajalakshmi, okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
So not really like reflection as much, but I guess my question was, why did they have to be born so many times?
Okay.
Or like immediately? Why was like?
We'll kind of get into that in a minute, so we're gonna park your question there.
Okay, sounds good.
But that's a good question, and that's also I chose when we were going through it. I wanted to do pastimes that were a little controversial, because this one's very controversial. Even we're not going to get into lots of stuff that's in the purport there that could open up a whole controversial topic. So we're not going to get into that. We're focusing on another part. But the point of this is that there are so many aspects to Srila Prabhupada's purports, and even sections of the purport you can pull out and focus on like that. But good question. Anyone has a reflection? Yes, Prabhu. You could share your name also.
You got it off, Dasi.
Yeah, I know everyone knows you, but just.
He's famous.
What stood out to me, the way Prabhupada writes that there's no fall down.
Mm.
It was an accident. It's just like, it gives a great perspective on what's happening and does address that controversial topic, which we won't talk about here.
Yes, we're not going to talk about it.
But even, in that context, we can see where it's just a little slip in the face of eternity. It's, we're gone, and it seems like millions of lifetimes, but it's just like this, and we're back.
Nice.
Part of our consciousness.
Powerful, thank you. Yes, Mother, you.
I think I know where you're going with devotee care because it's said in the purport that like there's no disagreement between the Lord and the devotee. However, if there's a disagreement between devotees, one must suffer the consequences. So it's like very instructive that if we make, like the Lord says, I tolerate an offense against myself, but I don't tolerate an offense against my devotee. And he also says that one who's my devotee is not really my devotee, but one who's the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So it just really points out how dear the devotees are to the Lord, and that we have to be so careful how we treat other devotees, because if we make an offense towards another devotee, we're going to have to suffer the consequence.
Perfect. Could everyone hear her? So we'll finish there because she just did the entire. I'm just kidding. She didn't even touch on anything we're going to discuss, but that's okay. That's exactly spot on. Yes, and your name?
My name is Kishore Yadav.
Kishore Yadav.
And I appreciated the last sentence that's on the slide.
Okay.
That the Lord requested the sages to give them facilities to return to Vaikuntha, and it makes me grateful for the sages in my life, and I feel like the Lord, through the grace of the sages, helps us along.
Wonderful. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I thought you were going to say, because as you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, isn't it interesting here that the Lord is requesting the sages to give her, sorry, you're God. We're not. Why are you asking us? But it's just amazing. When you look at it, you can see so many things. If we just left this sentence up and talked for an hour now, we would finish all feeling enlivened and enlightened and inspired. This is how powerful it is to just read and discuss Srila Prabhupada's books. So wonderful. Someone else, I think, had their hand raised. If not, we will move on. Okay, we're going to truck on. So just to set the scene a little bit, I did ask, some devotees are aware of the pastime, but some are not. So this pastime, Lord Brahma is actually telling this pastime. And he's telling this pastime because the demigods are all worried because of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So they're basically terrorizing everyone, and the demigods go to Brahma and they're like, where did these guys come from? These are such potent and powerful demons. So Lord Brahma says, sit down a minute, I'll tell you a story. So like that, Lord Brahma says, once upon a time, Kasyapa and Diti were basically, married, and they decided to do something a little untimely, and that created a certain thing. So he tells that, the birth of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But then he goes back and he tells about how that wasn't the beginning of their situation. And this is an important point, because we should always try to remember, although it's not easy, everybody, and when we say everybody, that means everybody. All of us have a backstory. Does that make sense? Like you look at Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha and you think, demons, right? But these demons have a backstory. There's something going on behind. And one of the things we were sharing recently is that it's almost impossible for us to really know what's happening in another person's life. Sometimes we might come across someone and they are just so moody. In England I would say, he was a right grumpy person, It's like,
And that's only your one interaction. But you have no idea what's all going on in a person's life. Does that make sense? So from a care perspective, I would say a powerful takeaway is if you leave here today just remembering that everybody has a backstory. It behooves us to try to understand that backstory before we cast a judgment. Does that make sense? Isn't that good?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're getting is the backstory. And the backstory is, and this is why I find it so controversial, and Raj Lakshmi, actually, her question. So, you've got two persons who are performing a service, Jaya and Vijay. Yes? Someone mentioned what their service is. Their service is? They're keeping the gates, not just gates to the Bhakti center is important, right? Because Prabhupada said all of the centers are embassies of the spiritual world. So it's also important. And then I'm so happy on this visit, I see you've got a gatekeeper downstairs. So for years when I would come, there was no gatekeeper. So gatekeepers to Vaikuntha, and not just any gatekeepers, but the gatekeepers to the final gate, the seventh gate, before you enter the inner sanctum. Like anyone here has been to Sri Rangam or is from Sri Rangam? Okay. So you have to go through so many gates before you get darshan of Ranganath. So you have two personalities. They got a service. And what is their service as gatekeepers? What do you think their service is? You keep people. You determine who comes in and who doesn't. Okay, so now imagine you're a gatekeeper and 4 naked little boys show up. Let's be real for a moment, It's like, if 4 naked little kids show up at the gate of Vaikuntha, are you gonna let them in or not? So for me, the first time I was reading this passage, I was like, come on, put some clothes on, kids. But they show up like, let us in. And Jaya and Vijay said, no, you can't enter. Look at you. Of course, they kind of judged the 4 Kumars. Then they said no, but then what did the 4 Kumars do? They grabbed their Brahmin threads, wrapped it around, and they cursed them. To do what? Take birth in the material world. They said, you clowns don't even belong in Vaikuntha. You have such bad attitudes that you're only fit for the material world. I paraphrase there. You won't find that exactly in the translation. So this is what's happened, and then you've got Jaya and Vijay, and as soon as they did that, they realized, oh, these aren't just any old little naked kids. Like, I don't know how often naked kids show up outside the Bhakti Center, but, and they realized, whoops, we've really made a mistake here. And the 4 Kumars were like, they still cursed them. So for me, it's like, why did they curse them? They're just doing their job. They could have said, it probably doesn't look so good, us showing up here, 4 naked little boys, We get it why you maybe, but we're actually, sons of Brahma. and we're on a quest for enlightenment. And we, they could have explained, but they didn't do any of that. They immediately just cursed. Anyone here has ever been a little quick to cast a curse to someone? Only one person. God bless you all. I wish I'd only done it once, but, so like that. Okay, so we've entitled this talk CARE, and as an acronym. So each section or each part of the talk we'll term with a different word. So
the first letter of acronym C, we entitled that community. So the reason being that even in devotee communities, maybe they come as a surprise, maybe not, there may be arguments. there may be disagreements, there may be not seeing eye, a little bit upset, not seeing eye to eye. So this happens, and as Prabhupada would often say, because coming here to the temples is like coming to a hospital. You know, we want to get better. We come seeking. There's 4 different types of devotees that Krishna points out in the Bhagavad Gita. Whether we come knowingly or not, but we come for something. Someone may come because, oh, I just came to do yoga on the floor downstairs, or I just came to pray for my exams, or whatever it may be. But we come for some shelter. So in other words, everyone's not like lacking in some way. I need some healing. I need something. So in that sense, there's some vulnerability or sensitivity. So we're going to end up, you could say, like knocking together, or knocking or touching each other's sensitive sides, rubbing each other, a bit like we give this example of a rock tumbler. If you want to smooth out rocks, you put them into, they call a tumbler, and you turn it, and then they just like knock together, and when you take them out, they're smooth. And nice, but the process to get that smoothness is to bash basically against each other. So it occurs, the point being it occurs in communities, in friendships, at work, at school, at university. The lesson here that we felt here was not, oh, disagreements occur. Well, that happens. I mean, you were just walking here, you could have just walking, we were just coming here, just someone coming on this side or that, or, careful, when you're walking. But the point is, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with the disagreements? That's the lesson to take from this particular section. Do I grow from it? Do I think, what was my part in that? What was I supposed to learn? Or am I going to now hold to it? Am I going to stagnate? I'm going to put the brakes on right now. That's where I'm staying. That's what you did to me. Whether that's on a personal level, every time I see you, it's like, I smile at everyone, no. There's that connection that you just don't, I'm not going to connect with you because you did that in such and such a year, in such and such a date. Or do I just let it go? Recently, Vaisheshika Prabhu was in London, and he always comes up with really nice one-liners, it seems, that you can take away. And then what he was talking about when he came recently was, in terms of working together, having a common goal, he says, when you're in a situation where there may be differences of opinions, he said, do I want a work around for a turnaround? Am I willing to work around this? Am I willing to, I compromise, you compromise, because we have a common goal here, these beautiful worships here. So let's work around together for a common goal of a turnaround. Am I willing to do that? So these are the points that we felt came out initially in this part of the pastime.
Yeah, just to make sure, has anyone here ever had a disagreement with another devotee? No? Okay. So what a perfect community. We're definitely going to come and stay here. Wherever we go, we see so much other things going on. Okay. So this is from a little bit of a verse later. Jaya and Vijay. After being cursed by the sages, the doorman said, "It is quite apt that you have punished us for neglecting to respect sages like you. But we pray that due to your compassion at our repentance, the illusion of forgetting the Supreme Personality of Godhead will not come upon us as we go progressively downward." I mean, just think about that for a moment. You've just been cursed. I mean, usually people say, go to hell. I mean, if you're in Vaikuntha and someone tells you to go to the material world, it's like, go to hell. So, and they say, you're right. You're right to have cursed us. We transgressed etiquette. We're sorry. we beg forgiveness because they've repented. They said, we've repented. So we're going to accept your curse. We're not going to fight against it. This is also an important point. Often, it doesn't work like that, right? Someone comes with an opinion, and then you come with your opinion, right? And then you get this. Right? Anyone's had those situations? It's like, they call it head-butting, you butt heads, like we're... And until someone does this, until someone gets on the floor and says, "Oh, Mataji, you're right, I'm so sorry. Jaya, Shishivana Ki Jaya, Shishivana Until someone gets on the floor and asks for forgiveness, you keep doing this. But once someone does that, then you'll find that often the other person will do the same thing. I have a story that sometimes I tell at this point. It's called My Pen Story. I don't know if we have enough time. But anyway, the point... that was torture. Oh no. Would you like to hear the pen story? Yeah. Anyone here has a pen? No, because people don't carry pens. Do you have one? Very good. I don't need to use it, but that's cool that you got one. So when I joined the Brahmachari ashram, you have a kurta, always has a little thing. And so I became a little nerdy because I heard Srila Prabhupada say, if you want to remember, you only have to remember one thing. And what is that? To write it down. And so I said, great, I'm going to take notes. And I had my notebook and I had my pen. So anyway, we had this thing at Soho Street that whenever a devotee would leave, we'd always write a card out for them. And it was someone was leaving, going to another temple. And so we wrote out a card and everyone was signing it. Nice to have you here. Thank you, that card of appreciation. So I signed it and one devotee came up after me and he said, "Oh, Prabhu, can I borrow your pen?" And I said, "No problem, but can you please make sure I get it back before class?" This was during Japa period. I said, "Because I want to take notes." And he said, "Yeah, no problem." And I said, "Cool." Gave the pen. I didn't see him again. Later, after class, after breakfast, I saw him upstairs in the Sankirtan office. I said, "Hey, Prabhu, where's my pen?" He said, "Oh, I don't know. I lent it to someone else." And then he started to walk off. I said, "Hey, Prabhu, where's my pen?" And he said, "Hey, Prabhu." Right, Prabhu, we're both saying Prabhu, like master, right? "Hey, master, shut up." "Hey, master, get out of my face, where's my pen?" He said, "It's just a pen." I said, "Hey, Prabhu, it's just my pen." And you said, and it became one of those, and it was like about to come to fisticuffs. And I said, "Look, Prabhu, I'm going to go upstairs and change into my, Sankirtan clothes. When I come back down, just make sure you got my pen, right? Who here thinks that's a fair request? Please be on my side." All the devotees are like, "No, Prabhu, that's not very Vaishnava-like, but if it happened to you." So anyway, I went upstairs, and as I was coming down the steps, anyone who's been at Soho, they know it's just like a bunch of steps, similar to here, steps. I could hear this devotee so frustrated, and he was talking to my mentor and about 5 other devotees, and he was saying, "I don't know why he's so upset. It's just a pin. Anyway, he made all these demands. He's like that and like this." And, that's what you get being American in England. It's just different natures. So I came around the corner into the room, and everyone just stopped talking. And they all just looked at me like, you got a lot of nerve coming into the room. And so I looked at this devotee who was standing right in front of me. And his head was like, his face was so red, he was so upset. And behind him was like a window. And the first thought that came into my head, and I'm making a confession here, is I just wanted to push him out the window. I thought, I don't need any more problems in life. somehow Krishna from within gave me some common sense. And I don't know where it came from, but in that moment I thought, you know, I did this to him. I did this to him. I've upset this devotee so much by being so demanding about a pen. And I just felt like such an idiot. And I just folded my palms and I got on the ground and I and there was about 5 devotees in the room, including him. Everybody hit the deck. And then we stood up and I said to him, and both of us kind of almost had like tears in our eyes, and I said, "Bro, I'm such an idiot, I'm so sorry." He said, "No, I'm an idiot, I shouldn't have taken your pen, I promise." And I was thinking, yeah. No, that's true, it's me. And he said, "No, it's me." And then we embraced and we hugged, and everyone started came and hugged, and it was like, "Oh, yeah, oh." I said, "Where's my pen?" Anyway, I just let it go. Huh?
You didn't say that.
Yeah, I didn't say that. But the point being that it's like this sometimes until somebody gets the good sense to just back down, just let it go, you know. Now devotees, when I say that, sometimes devotees say, "Yeah, but what if you get on the floor and they start kicking you in the head?" I said, "Well, then everyone will be able to see who's really got the problem, you know." But the point is, we can't dictate what someone else will do, but we can act correctly. We can act properly. So it was a pretty powerful moment, but nothing compared to what Jaya and Vijaya did, you know. Of course, he was a devotee. He could have easily cursed me also, and probably did. But we're still good friends to this day, but I'll never lend him my pen again.
So in terms of that, going back to the acronym.
Sorry.
So it was care, C was for community, and A before was equals the appearance of the Lord. So in this pastime, we see that Lord Vishnu appears, and we were thinking, when disagreements or upsets occur, the best thing, not saying it's the easiest thing, but the best thing is bring it to Krishna. Just bring it to Krishna, meaning somehow, whether it means literally come to their lordships and pray and take shelter, or whether it means speaking to devotees and to seek clarity, what's occurring here, so they can help you. But somehow to provoke or invoke, as to say, Krishna's presence in our life, which we do, but it's a real test of how Krishna conscious we are, to the degree that we do it. Because sometimes we may say, "Yeah, I do when I have issues or problems, I talk to devotees," but if you're anything like me, I know who I can talk to in terms of what response I'm going to get. Like I just had a friend yesterday messaging me in London, one devotee who had some sort of interaction with a family member, but she came to me with a certain mood, expecting a certain favourable response, and I thought about it and gave another, I'll be honest, Christian conscious type response, so I'm never more again, because we do that. We may try to invoke the Lord, but I'll go to the person and I'll say, yeah, you're right, he was right. But in one sense, somehow try to invoke Krishna's presence where I can see what's my lesson, how did I play a part in this, how can I make it better even. So Krishna does appear, but you have to be able to see his hand in it as well, and he may not always appear in the way we want him to, or speak through devotees in a way that we want him to, as it were.
Devotees used to say whenever, they'd be having problems in the temple, but when Srila Prabhupada would come, all the problems would just go away. So it's like that when we invoke, when we really feel the presence of the Lord, it's like, how insignificant, How insignificant. It's kind of the opposite of what Maharaj was talking about last night, how, we're offering the little flame, and we think, oh, I'm offering this flame. But it's just like a little flame came from the sun, which is just simply, a minor part of the light of God, So in the same way, sometimes problems can be magnified, and we think it's such a big deal. but when we put it next to Krishna, it becomes minimized. In Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada, when he installed Krishna Balaram, I'm not sure if you're aware, but he said to the devotees who had struggled so hard for so many years to establish the temple, he said, so now Krishna and Balaram are here. And he said, if you have any problem, you just come before Krishna and Balaram and you say, my dear Krishna and Balaram, this is the problem. We're giving it to you. Please sort it out. So the point being that we take it to Krishna, we involve Krishna, we bring it into the mix. You know? And the Lord appeared, and we have a couple of passages describing the Lord, but after Jaya and Vijay were humble. After they accepted that we made a mistake and were willing to take the punishment, that humility attracted the Lord. That humility attracted the Lord to appear on the scene.
So, just continue with the pastime. The sages, headed by Shonaka Rishi, saw that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who was formerly visible only within their hearts in ecstatic trance, had now actually become visible to their eyes.
So also remember how Krishna is accomplishing many things here. The four Kumaras were Brahmavadis, means they were still on the platform of transcendence, but in understanding the Lord or the absolute truth as Brahman, as energy only. And now their journey into Vaikuntha was to see, is there something more? Is there more? And now the Lord has personally appeared before them. So sometimes the most difficult situations can bear the most wonderful fruits. And we can make the most progress. As long as Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to always talk about how to transform obstacles into opportunities. You know, so like that.
He was adorned with a girdle that shone brightly on the yellow cloth covering his large hips. And he wore a garland of fresh flowers, which was distinguished by humming bees. His lovely wrists were graced with bracelets, and he rested one of his hands on the shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, and twirled a lotus with another hand.
Nice description, huh? So it's good within the pages of the Bhagavatam you also get to, see the Lord described. I always thought it was interesting that the Lord's got large hips, so anyone happens to have large hips, so does God, no problem.
So the next letter of the acronym of CARE is R for responsibility. In the end, everyone, in this past time, everyone had to accept a certain level of responsibility for what happened. When you first read it, sometimes it can be, the gatekeeper stopped them, why would they do that? Or for me, when I read it, it was more or less the way it was said that, why would the Kumaras come naked and expect to be treated in a certain way? Why would they do that? But everyone had a certain level of responsibility that they accepted, because, I don't know if this is the saying here, but it takes two to tango. It's not just one-sided, as it were. And really, we have to accept 100% of the responsibility for our part. For our part. What occurs on the other side occurs for our part. And as was said, opposition, it can be broken by humility. So someone has to take that step though. So, but what's also interesting that we've picked up here is that there was rectification. It wasn't just sentiment. It wasn't just everyone said, let's just chant Hare Krishna and go home. There was something that had occurred that wasn't correct. And therefore rectification was there for Jaya and Vijay. It wasn't just, it's okay, let's, it's all right, Prabhu, let it go. It wasn't like that. Because actually, rectification I don't know, could be controversial, but it has to be there in order for devotee care to occur for the other party, if that makes sense. If there's no rectification, then where is the level of care for the person who feels I was wronged? If that makes sense. Without being, yes. So in one sense there is acknowledgement that something wrong took place, something wrong occurred in our little community, as it were. The important point that we also said before is how we deal with it, and so we don't dwell on it, and we don't label permanently, that's it, you're done. You can keep coming to the Bhakti Center, but it's that person. You know, that's the person that did that. Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, before my time, okay, 30 years ago, but yeah, they did that. They just permanently labeled. That we shouldn't do. But some rectification is there, and then we move on.
Prabhupada said that if someone goes away, it's 50% our fault and 50% their fault. So I always think, in any disagreement, we have to take 100% ownership for our 50%. So I have to own 100% my part of the problem, and that means I have to do everything that I can to try to rectify that within my means. I can't be responsible for their 50%, but I have to be 100% responsible for my 50%. So like that.
And the four Kumaras said, "O Lord, we pray that you let us be born in any hellish condition of life, just as long as our hearts and minds are always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. Our words are made beautiful by speaking of your activities, just as Tulasi leaves are beautified when offered unto your lotus feet. And as long as our ears are always filled with the chanting of your transcendental qualities."
So now the four Kumars are apologizing. Right? You see? So the Lord has shown up. He's appeared because of the humility of Jaya and Vijay. He's manifested. Krishna has been introduced into the problem. The smell of the tulsi leaves converted the four Kumars from Brahmavadis to Bhaktas, to devotees, to personalists. And now they're saying, let us be born in a hellish condition for what we did, because actually we messed up. Yeah? Does that make sense? It's just transformation after transformation. So it's like this point. Accidents will happen. Difficulties will come. Tensions will be there. When we got married, Raghunath Maharaj was at our engagement, and he said, my wife wasn't in the room, so I repeat this all the time so that she hears it, because she was getting ready, but he made the announcement, and he said, don't think that any marriage will be perfect. He said, simply because there are no two false egos on this planet that are meant to be together that much. So when you put two false egos together like that, there's always going to be some friction between husband and wife, mother and child, father and child, brothers and sisters. I mean, it's just the nature of the material world, especially in Kali Yuga. I mean, this is going on not even in Kali Yuga. This is happening at the gates of Vaikuntha. What to speak of here in the material world, So there's always going to be some difficulty, but it's about how we handle it. How we invoke Krishna into the situation so that we try to see it differently. Like that.
So the final letter is acronym E. I want to stop at
At 12 hard stop, yes? Yes.
Okay, we could. So E is for expert leadership. So we felt the Lord was setting such an amazing example here for the devotees in terms of how he dealt with the situation. He was apologizing on behalf of the gatekeepers and saying, please, I want them to come back to resume their service. I want them to come back, keeping the door open, literally, as it were, for them, I guess. But it wasn't shunned in any way. The environment was created that you come home, you come back. Yes, something wrong occurred, but you come back. And we were thinking that even in society, if you're in prison, you do your time, but then you do go back into this society, as it were, so in the same way, in a devotional mood or environment, mistakes may be there, but then we come back. So the Lord says to me, the Brahmana is the highest and most beloved personality. The disrespect shown by my attendants has actually been displayed by me, because the doormen are my servitors. I take this to be an offense by myself. Therefore, I seek your forgiveness for the incident that has arisen.
This is God speaking. God said to the four Kumars, they made a mistake, but because they're my servants, it's my fault. So therefore, I made the mistake, and therefore I beg you, four Kumars, for forgiveness.
Anyone in the entire world, even down to the Chandala who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of the dog, is immediately purified if he takes bath inhaling through the ear the glorification of my name, fame, etc. Now you have realized me without doubt. Therefore, I will not hesitate to lop off my own arm if its conduct is found hostile to you.
That's God speaking. Because the four Kumars have now become his bhaktas, he will not even hesitate to remove his own arm if it becomes offensive to them.
The Lord says, because I am the servitor of my devotees.
Hare Krishna. Rajaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Taigo Premanandi. No time for questions. Hopefully there's been a few answers. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I think now there'll be arti and kirtan.
3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay, you got a different clock. Oh no, I see. All right, go ahead. So, questions, reflections, any thoughts, anything? We have 3 minutes. Yes,
I
other.
want to say something. It was so beautiful, the appearance of the Lord, how we should bring Krishna into things. Like, if we have a disagreement, then we bring Krishna into the picture, we come to Krishna. And I remember I had like a very deep experience of that one time. I had a disagreement with a devotee. This devotee, like, no matter what I did, this devotee was like not happy with me. And I really respected this devotee. Like, I wasn't upset at this devotee. And I like apologized to this devotee profusely. I was trying to, like, on a human level, like, apologize. I did what you did, like this, and I like did this, and the person was still like this. And I like tried everything, and nothing was working. And we actually like lived together, so it was like really tough. And then this person was doing decorations for the temple room, so service to Krishna. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and like stay up all night with this person and help this person do service. And I went and did this, and because like we were like in the temple room, like doing service for Krishna together, this person like melted when nothing else had worked. And it was like such a profound, like, you just gotta serve Krishna.
Very nice. My thought on that is sometimes the person on the other side can think that your words are false, that it's just sentiment. And then, so that's why it's really important that you brought that up, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, because we have to put our money where our mouth is. And we have to back up, with actions. And sometimes that's the transformational point. So that's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay? Okay.
On behalf of the assembled devotees, I would like to present you with this gift.
It's a God.
If you didn't
And
know,
it's
he's
from
a
the Port
comedian.
Authority of New York. God. And it says, I'm on the path. That's a God. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
He's a professional comedian.
I know, it makes me laugh. Oh, God. Okay, thank you all very, very much. It's such an honor to be here with all of you. We're very grateful to the leaders and to the community for opening your hearts and your home to us. Hari Hari.
Please stay. We're going to have Arti and Kirtan now. So because we're having the seminar at 2, we can keep those chairs where they are. But we're just going to move these mats and we're going to move these chairs. Everyone please come forward so we can all be together for Arti. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Usually we do a call and response fashion, is that right?
Yes.
So I'll sing first and then you can all follow. So we'll go to the next song. Namaste Saraswati Devi Puravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sundavari Asachari Shatarine. Everybody.
Jaya Gaura Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Rajagacharya, those that are Suttas divineness, A.C. Bhakti Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. DBT founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Ram Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Murlidhar Ki Jai. Shri Gaurachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhakti Center Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Nitago Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Lotus Feet of Shri Guru and Shri Guru. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Bhava Thank you so much, everyone, for being here for Bhagavat Sravana. Another big round of applause for Jaya, Nitai, Prabhu, and Bhagavat, Devi, Dasi. Before everyone goes for Prabhupada ki! Before everyone goes, we have a beautiful lunch prasadam in the back for all of you. We have a few announcements. I actually want to give a shout out. Krishna, what's your new name? She left. What's your new name? Krishna Nandini, come forward. This is our beautiful community member, Krishna Nandini. And we just want to congratulate her because a couple weeks ago she took initiation and now she's Krishna Nandini. She's a very beloved community member and she's probably here today making garlands. Yeah, she's such a beautiful supporter of Bhakti Center, so we're so happy for her. And we also wanted to make some announcements. This happens every week, this Bhagavat Sravana, and next week we have a very special guest speaker, Gauranga Prabhu. And he'll be speaking on the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam in the month of Purushottama Mas. And tonight, if you're free, at 5 p.m., the Brooklyn Temple is having a program with Radhanath Swami and Devarita Swami and Jaya Swami and Jananivas Prabhu and so many other people, so it's going to be really amazing. Please go and experience that. We also have some amazing one-day retreats coming up. We have a one-day retreat with Krishna Kshetra Swami on reading and living the Chaitanya Charitamrita, re-entering the world of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life and teachings, and that's going to be on Saturday, October 14th, all day. And this event is free to support you all in your spiritual lives. However, registration is required. Please go to our website and sign up, and also leave a donation to help support the program. Also, we have a one-day retreat with Mahatma Prabhu on self-care on Saturday, August 26th. Same thing, registration required, and please give a donation. Unfortunately, our one-day retreat with Rukmini Walker Prabhu is going to have to be canceled. So we'll send an update about that, but she will come back next year and do some one-day retreats with us. And we have a lot of festivals coming up. Jula Nyatra is starting on Sunday, August 27th with a special Bhagavat Sravana with Mahatma Prabhu, and then on Monday and Tuesday night from 7 to 8 p.m., and then Balaram Jayanti on Wednesday, August 30th. Then we have Krishna Janmashtami on Wednesday, September 6th from 6:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. The theme is Krishna, darshan of his divine form. So we're going to lead you on a meditation from Krishna's lotus feet to his smiling face through drama and lectures and bhajans, including special guests, Kastuba Prabhu, Raghunath Prabhu, Shri Prahlad Prabhu, Hari Prasad Prabhu, Radha Bhakti, and so many others. Rasanath Prabhu is going to be super, super amazing. Thank you for playing the mridanga while I make the announcements. It makes it so much cooler. And on Tuesday, we always have every Tuesday a program with, keep going, with Yogeshwara Prabhu, and he's amazing. And this coming week, he's going to be telling a beautiful story about the banana seller, which is my favorite story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we're almost done with announcements, so keep listening. On Saturday, August 5th, from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., we're having an all-day community japa day. Come chant 64 rounds, or chant however many rounds you want. You can come and go as you please. We'll also have art teas and a special lunch for everyone. It's going to be amazing. And if you want to dive deeper into Bhakti scriptures, Doyle Gauranga is going to be leading an online Bhakti Shastri course, studying Nectar of Instruction, Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and Nectar of Devotion. You can sign up on our website. Last announcement is after we have lunch, which everyone can have lunch in the back, make a friend, keep a friend, take lunch with each other, leave a donation, stay, because at 2 p.m. Bhava, Bhakti, Devi, Dasi, and Jaya, Nitai are going to be doing a seminar on devotee care, so we want to hear from them more. And if you have any questions about anything, come and see me. And if you want to get all these announcements delivered to your inbox, go to bhakticenter.org. I feel like an airplane stewardess. go to bhakticenter.org and scroll down to the bottom of the website and click on Join Our Temple newsletter. And if you would like to get these updates delivered to your WhatsApp, you can come and see me and I can add you to the temple WhatsApp. That's all, folks. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful prasadam.
Hey,